If you want to run to the bathroom while I'm starting, then hi, everybody. My name is Sonia Varillo. I'm going to be leading this workshop on MemberHub Advanced. You may notice if you look at your participant panel, there's some nonverbal feedback functions. Can everybody just click yes if you can hear me? Awesome. Okay. Thanks. You can stop with that response. I'm going to clear. Okay. So this is just some virtual housekeeping. So all attendees are going to be muted. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat and I will try to address them at the end. This workshop is being recorded and will be available on the New York State PTA website after the event. Additionally, PDF of these slides and an additional handout will be available on the New York State PTA website after the event. So don't feel like you have to write everything down afterwards. Use the chat if you have questions, and then I will be asking some questions throughout the workshop. So be prepared to use those yes, no buttons if I ask for a response. Okay, so this is what we're going to sort of be covering is what are hubs, how to organize, setting up your homepage, how to customize it, how to do messages, and what the difference is between announcements and discussions. What the calendar is, files, people, whiteboards, signups, and sponsor share. Okay, so what are hubs? Hubs are groups. So consider them like they work like distribution lists or Google groups. So you would want to set up your hub hierarchy sort of like how your school is set up or how your unit is set up, right? So this JY joiner gives the example of sort of an elementary unit. And so they've got different committees. They've got a third grade hub, they've got a Hampshire. And you notice here there is a sort of, if you're familiar with Windows, sort of their tree structure, right? So under JY Joiner, you have this media center, book room committee. You've got this, this committee level. Underneath that, in the same level, you have this third grade hub. Underneath the third grade hub, you have the Hampshire class. So what happens is with MemberHub is if you add people to one of these under hubs like Hampshire, so if you add a person to the Hampshire hub, they are automatically going to be added to the third grade hub, which is listed as their parent hub in the organization. And then all three of these groups are going to be added to the JY Joiner list. When you go to your MemberHub site, and quick yes, no question, how many of you are actively using MemberHub in your units right now in any capacity? Okay. Thanks. So JY Joiner deals with sort of the school aspect, right? They have this JYJ Foundation, which is sort of a standalone. They have a JYJ PTA, which underneath that has PTA board and committee chairs. And so you would be able to have hubs. All of these would be examples of hubs. Okay, so you would be able to send out communication, calendar, signups for any one of those hubs. Okay. What changes, what allows people to be a part of the hub above it is that relates to people. So the people would be automatically, so if people are inputted into this Hampshire hub, then they would automatically be added to the third grade hub, which would then give them the ability to access all of the calendar signups and things that are listed in that hub, okay? Communications could be sent school-wide, like this JY Joiner. If you sent something out, it would get listed to everybody. Grade level, like this third grade hub, or a particular classroom or team, like this Hampshire hub, okay? Hubs can either be set up as open or closed. So you can set up in MemberHub if you want them to be open, like maybe you want a committee to be open, that people could, anybody on your MemberHub site could join that particular hub. A closed hub would be an example of probably a classroom hub where you only allow either a site admin or the hub administrator, whoever's in charge of that hub, to be able to add people. So for the example of a classroom hub, you would only to control who that is. So that's how hubs can be very useful. Okay, this is the home page that is available for every single hub. So this is the hub navigation is going to look like, the home page, messages, calendar, files, members, photos, whiteboard, signups. This is available to every single hub on your site. And this home page can be customized to whatever you want it to be. So you just simply go here on your MemberHub site. If you go to the hub, you go to a home page for a particular hub, you would see a blue button here for edit home page as a site admin or a hub admin, and then you'd be able to customize it, add a picture, add a description. And so you should put stuff here that you want, you know, some sort of welcome message. If it's a PTA hub, maybe you have listing your current officers, maybe your, you know, meeting dates, any general information that you want listed on your homepage. You can customize MemberHub for your unit. So don't forget to edit the homepage that we just talked about. You can include logos and relevant information. You can customize the profile customization. So MemberHub has a bunch of different fields like maiden name, birth date, you know, address, and site admins, which would most likely be your PTA officers, would decide what information they want to be shown and available for members to complete. So you could decide if you maybe don't want maiden, MemberHub programmed maiden name as a field, but you could click that you don't want that available. You could also add custom fields, like if you had you wanted to collect TOPS and education numbers or something, you could collect that and people could fill that out when they fill out their profile on MemberHub. Site admins decide what information is viewable and editable by the member. So they would decide, site admins, which again, typically would be your PTA officers, would decide that for the whole site. You can use tags, can be used to categorize people. Think of it sort of like hashtags. So you can use tags for people and you can also use tags for files, which I'll show you in a future slide. Getting your messages read. So many of us know, and I have personal experience. I've been involved in PTA now for about 7 years. I've been a president of 3 different units, 2 elementary units, a middle school unit. I know that communication is vital to the success of the work that we do, right? We have to let parents know what we're doing. And getting emails, messages, and communication out on a regular basis is vital. So in MemberHub, you do have the ability to insert pictures and clip art. And what I recommend is you can either create sort of a secret hub where you hide all of your pictures, or you can, they now have a way that you can just add pictures to the library, which is an easier way of doing it. And there is in the handout information that is going to be available on the New York State PTA website, there is a cheat sheet handout that's going to be available. And that has on the last page of it is a cheat sheet of HTML code that I have developed that gives you all of the coding that you need to do to make your pictures line up. Like you want the picture and then you want your text right next to it, right? Because right now, when you put things in MemberHub as messages, it puts the pictures in line with the text. But I give you sort of a cheat sheet of some little bit of HTML coding that you can use so it makes sure that your pictures line up nicely. It's also vitally important that you send predictable messages at regular intervals. So you can create and use a template for regular communication. You can also you can have somebody create a template and then have the actual message sent by somebody else. So let's say you have a lot of tech experience and you want to help create the messages, but it has to go out under the president's name. You could create the template and then the president could go in on their account and view it and it would come from there. It would look like it came from them, excuse me. One of the other things that I really love about MemberHub is 2 things. It allows you to schedule messages for future distribution. So if you're like me, a lot of the work that you do is done at 11 o'clock or 2 a.m. or whatever time you have free, right, in front of the computer while the kids are sleeping. You can schedule a message for future distribution. So if you say, I'm working on it, but I don't want to send it right now, you can schedule it to be sent in the future. So you could schedule it to be sent, Monday at 9 a.m. And you could work on it all week long and then be able to just, finalize it and send it out at a certain day and time. The other thing that MemberHub does is it shows you how many people open it. So it gives you sort of that open rate. So you can see if people are really opening your messages. And sometimes it can be really, it's really gratifying to read, especially if you get in the habit of sending like a weekly email newsletter, you're going to see your open rates become more consistent. So you'll see them, be, 30, 40% more. You can rate the differences, how they are over time. Using the calendar. So the calendar is another option that you can do. There's 2 different calendars in MemberHub. There's a main calendar that's viewable to every single person on your MemberHub site, or there's also a hub calendar that's only viewable to people that are in that particular hub. So to do that, you would just need to create an event. This is the name that shows what it looks like right here. You would complete the information, the event name, you could put a location, you could put an address. The address would be the address of the event. Then it would show them on a little map, what it is. The start and end time, repeat spot, any notes you want to list here, promo, any additional words about the event. And this is one of I really love this as a PTA officer. You can set up your calendar of events, and then you can have it send automatic reminders to people in the hub that the event is coming up. This is extremely useful for meetings. So you could set all of your meetings for the year, and then you can send an email to members right now about the event, but a lot of times what I do is I click the remind members via email. And once you click on that box, then you can choose whether you want it to send, you know, minutes, hours, days prior to the event, and you choose what you want that to be. So you can also choose to notify people via text message. And if people have enabled text message on MemberHub, you could also send a message via text message. And the beauty of these automatic reminders is that it comes from the organization. So the reminders come from your unit name, and it has the reminder of the event coming up. It doesn't come from a particular person, and it's automated. You can also decide here if you want to show the event on the main calendar, so that way everybody would be able to see it. That's on your MemberHub site, or whether you want the event to only show up to people that are in your hub. Using tags. Tags is a way to sort of categorize things. They can be very helpful for helping to make it easier to find items. For example, when you upload items, a lot of times, most of the time, they're going to show up either with the most recent item being first, or you could set it up that it's set up so there's automatic alphabetically. Using tags could be a way to make sure that if people want to look for certain items quickly, they could click on a tag. For example, as a PTA leader in a PTA board hub for PTA board, tag them with the month, you know, of that the report is for. So for example, all of my agenda that I sent out for my July meeting, I tagged 2020-07. No matter what order, so that way whatever the order tag was in, it's chronologically. That way the year would always be first, and then the month. And I did the four digits for the year, dash 2 digits for the month. So then if somebody wanted to see what were the reports for the July meeting, they would just have to click on that tag, and they could see all the documents that were for that particular meeting, no matter what order they had been inputted into the system or what the file in particular was named. So that's a prime example of a good use of tags, particularly in the file section. You also have a hub. So they could either see it as a, use it as a in the hub from inside your MemberHub, or you could generate an external link that then you could put in an email or communication on your MemberHub. Sorry about that, guys. We got disconnected, but we came right back. Appreciate your patience. Okay, whiteboards in MemberHub. Whiteboards is sort of like, I'm going to say it's a very, very basic Google Doc kind of function. So it's a great way for people to collaborate. Again, for PTA officers, a prime example would be like a PTA president creating a whiteboard for an agenda, and then you're soliciting items from your PTA board members of what items should be on the agenda. So you could create a whiteboard, and then people will be able to access the whiteboard and make it would keep up the new version of whatever was added. So you can allow MemberHub hub members to comment on the idea, post it to the whiteboard. You can email it to users. So an example of using it for something like building an agenda would be a good use of a whiteboard. Signups. So this is, again, signups that you can do within MemberHub. You may have used other tools. You may have used like Signup Genius or signup.com. You can also do signups within MemberHub. There's definitely pros and cons to each. So One of the things right now, one of the limitations of doing signups in MemberHub is that signups are only available and viewable by people that are in that hub. So if somebody isn't a member of your MemberHub site, they're not going to be they're not going to be able to access the sign up link. I do know that that is something that MemberHub is working on as a future improvement, as far as making signups available, kind of like how the store is available. Anybody can view the store. They're working on that. They just haven't gotten there yet. But if you want to do something, particularly for like a class celebration, you want to get class volunteers and you have all of your parents in MemberHub, then you could certainly, you know, use the signups within MemberHub to do things like collecting items for a party, or you want to have people sign up for parent-teacher conferences or shifts for some sort of, you know, science project activity or something. So you can do, you can set time slots, you can set, you know, that you need certain amount of items. I need 4 packages of paper towels. I need a package of 50 plates. You can set that all up in MemberHub. And you can clear responses to reuse signups year after year. But I would say, I've moved on to the other slide, but I would say for doing school-wide events or things that you need a lot of items for and you want to make it as easy as possible for people to sign up, I would personally, I would recommend using like a Sign Up Genius or a signup.com site to do that, just because it's so much easier for parents to do it, because anybody can have the link and they don't have to be logged into their MemberHub account. People do need to be logged into their MemberHub account using their username and password in order to be able to view signups, as they currently are coded in the system. So sponsor share. So this is an opportunity that units have to actually earn some money for their unit by selling the space that they have on their MemberHub site. You may have noticed when you send emails through MemberHub, and how many of you are currently sending emails to people through MemberHub? How many using yes, no? How many of you are currently doing that? Okay, I see some yeses coming in. Okay, so you may have noticed that when you send emails, there is ad space. There's one ad space at the top, and then there's 2 ad spaces at the bottom of every email that have ads listed on them. And every PTA unit has the opportunity to sell those spaces. Those spaces right now are being filled by vendors that MemberHub has contracted with, that has filled those spots. But you have the opportunity to sell spots and get that money and use that in return. So you can sell up to 12 ad spots on your site, and you have to purchase them. There are 4 groups of 3 spots, and you have to purchase them in groups of 3. So I believe this is still the current pricing. I originally made this slideshow last year, but MemberHub would definitely tell you if what the current pricing is if it was different. So to purchase 3 spots, it's $300. To purchase 6 spots, it's $500. And to purchase 12 is $1,000. Now you could sell each one of those spots for whatever, you know, dollar amount you think you can get. I have seen units sell a spot, and again, when you purchase a spot, it is for a whole year. So you would sell it now, and they would be able to have that ad space until July 31st. And units often will sell them for $450 or $500, you know, per spot. And they are more valuable the more often that you are sending out emails through the system, and that the more often you are having people come to your site. So and you can get, you know, from MemberHub, you can, you know, if you want to show your vendor that purchased a spot, you could show them how many times. You can get information from MemberHub that tells them how many times their ad showed up on the site or how many times it was listed on an email. You can get that from MemberHub. So you can get more information at this website, but it is an opportunity that you have to, again, you would collect, you know, the whatever dollar amount. Let's say you charge $500 for a spot. You would collect the $500, and then you pay MemberHub if you sell one spot, you would still have to pay them $300 because you have to sell them. They can only purchase them in groups of 3. So then you would keep $200. But then if you sold 2 other spots for $500, then you would keep the $1,000. So the math works out. It gets better the more ads that you sell. Oh, so that is the end of my prepared presentation. Let's see here. I'm going to end this show. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to go to chat and we're going to see what kinds of questions we have. Okay, so from Agapi's question, so yeah, right. Currently, there is no shareable link for signups. So that is something that I'm hoping and praying that MemberHub comes out with as an improvement, but we have not received word of that being active yet. How do we do online sign up for members? So members, so when people join MemberHub through your MemberHub store, if they purchase dues through your store, they are automatically going to get access to your MemberHub site. So then it becomes a function of how do you want to add other people. And when you add other people, let's see here, I'm going to go to a hub, and this is my actual middle school unit that I was president of last year. I'm going to go just to the board hub. To click on people, to add people, you can do one of two things. If people are already in your system, you could add them from the database. But the easier way, the much easier way to do it is just to simply enter their email address. So you would click here, click enter email address. And then if you've collected email addresses of people, you've got that sign up list of people that wanted to receive information about PTA and stay up to date. You could literally copy and paste all their email addresses in here and just separate them by a comma, semicolon, or a new line. And then you could add them here automatically. And typically what I would do is click this, add people to the hub directly, notify them via email, and then you could add a personal message like saying, hey, thanks so much. We're adding you to our site because you signed up on a clipboard that you were interested in staying up to date on PTA. So that sort of just gives them a personal message of saying why they're being added to the hub. And then they would get a notification that they were added to a hub, and then they would be prompted, if they haven't already, to create an account and create a password and set up an account in their profile on MemberHub. Yeah, so Alicia is talking about signups. So yeah, so encouraging people to remember their MemberHub signups so that they could do signups. That's one reason why I haven't used signups on MemberHub as much as I would like to, because I really love the idea of MemberHub being sort of an integrated all-in-one platform that you can use, just so that way you're not having to have as many tools in the toolbox. You can sort of consolidate them. But until MemberHub allows sort of external people and signups to be viewable by other people, they're going to it's going to be, they're going to have to remember their email address and their password. If people keep forgetting their password, they can obviously click on the forgot password prompt and, and just regenerate, reset their password and reset it from there. Casey says, I thought people could register and become and pay for PTA membership through MemberHub. Yes, they absolutely can. That was covered in the last workshop I led, which was the treasurer work in the treasurer strand that talked about finance fundamentals for MemberHub. People can become and pay for membership dues through their MemberHub store. So I covered that through a separate workshop, but it's available in your MemberHub store that people could pay dues, and then they would automatically become part of your MemberHub site. Julie asked, how do you get the ad into the spot? So when you purchase the sponsor share spots, you cannot dictate where it's going to land. You're just, you can't say that it's, I want it to be the top spot or I want it to be the bottom left. It's going to rotate around. So we don't have that ability of customization, but you're going to validate that it's going to be there, you know, once every 4 messages their ad will show. And again, at the end of the year, you can get data from MemberHub that will show you that you could give back to your vendor that says, you know, how many times, you know, their ad showed up on the site and how many times it was viewed. Luz says we use Remind app to send out notifications. Would you say MemberHub has the same functionality? So MemberHub, particularly like for calendar events, yes, MemberHub will do it automatically. So for example, especially if you've got PTA meetings and you've got it set in your, you know, you've got all your PTA members listed in a PTA hub and you've got your calendar there, then it would send out, it only sends out 1 reminder. So you can only set 1 reminder. So you set it, you decide when you want it to send the reminder out. So you would have to say if you wanted it to be, you know, 5 hours, you know, 6 days before the event. Now you could go into the calendar entry and once, if you wanted it to be like, I wanted to send a reminder 7 days out and then I want to send another reminder like the day before, you would have to go back to the calendar and change the reminder section. And then it would update, it would send it out, you know, a second reminder. If you changed, if once the first reminder had gone out, you would have to go into that calendar entry and set another reminder to go out. So that's how you would have to handle that. So yeah, so one of the, Karen, you can add people, yes, you can add people to a hub. They do not, and that's one of the advantages of the MemberHub system, is that you can send information to people that are not just PTA members. So I really advocate for collecting as many email addresses as you can, you know, and for me being at a middle school, you know, I would always go to the incoming, you know, we were a 6-8 building. I would go to the incoming 6th grade parent orientation with my clipboard and I would be collecting email names and email addresses of people that wanted to get on the list of the new building and stay up to date on what was going on and activities that we were having for incoming 6th grade students. So that would be the prime, you know, prime example. And then I would immediately put them into a grade level hub so that they could get information. I'm sure it was covered in a previous workshop, probably led by our membership and insurance manager, Dana Welch, that if people are a PTA member, they get a little gold star next to their name. So that identifies them as a current PTA member for the current year. But anybody can be in your MemberHub site. They don't have to be just PTA members. Let me see, what other questions? So Bridget was asking about the sponsor share program as far as when vendors want to, if they want to change the ad, they are able to change the ad. I think you have to contact MemberHub directly to do that. And there is an additional fee involved because it's like a change in artwork. It's a programming change. So if they want to change the ad, they would need to contact MemberHub to do that. And the other thing I'm going to caution you on sponsor share is you want to make sure that the places that are purchasing ad space on your site are aligned with PTA values. So, you know, so you want to choose businesses that align, you know, that are family friendly. You know, you want to, you know, I'm going to put a big X through, you know, your local gun shop, right? That would be a prime example of somebody you do not want purchasing ad space on your site. You want to focus on the dentist, you know, dentist offices, doctor's offices, sports camps, you know, other activities, you know, that have their values, you know, aligned with PTA. And the more that you show them that you use MemberHub to send messages and how much they're and how often people are potentially going to be seeing their ad, the more convincing you're going to be, and the better you're going to be able to get, you know, the $500 price for ad space, things like that. You can also decide to, you know, I know of another unit that does a big carnival, and they do a lot. They have businesses sponsor games. They have like a $500, you know, diamond sponsorship, and they include, you know, the diamond sponsorship of this event includes an ad space on our MemberHub site. So they build that into that. So that's another way that you could do it, is have them be a level, sponsor for an event, but then also give them the perk of being able to have that spot for the rest of the year, even after the event is over. Claudia asked a question about, can we get emails from class parents and add them to MemberHub? Yes. Or would that prevent parents from paying for, well, I think a lot of times what I really advocate for communicating to the entire school community what your unit does, because that shows the value of membership. You may have somebody that may not join at the beginning of the year, but maybe they will join, you know, halfway through the year. Again, you want to keep asking people, keep putting that opportunity out for people to purchase memberships all throughout the year. They might not do it in September, but they might join it, you know, as the year goes on. So you want to give them that opportunity. So Karen asked, would grade level hubs need to be updated every year? Yes, they would. So yes, they would definitely need to be updated every year. So, and that is something that I don't really cover in this workshop, but I'm thinking I may have to do like a separate webinar event on how to do that, because it can be a little tricky. Because you do want to make sure that you keep, particularly like, especially if you have class, like I've done it for elementary schools, and you've got people in those class level hubs. It's sort of it's a little bit of a complicated dance in making sure that people that are in those classroom hubs are manually put into the grade level hub, and then you rename the grade level hub to whatever the next grade level is. And one of the things that I recommend doing is when you name your hubs, put the graduation year in. So you guys can still see my screen. So see here how it says like 6th grade class of 2026, 7th grade class of 2025, 8th grade class of 2024. That's so that way whenever I rename it, I don't have to wonder which have I changed it already, or have I not changed it. These were classes from last year. So I need to rename it so that way, you know, my 7th grade hub is going to be, you know, class of 2025, but it's going to say 8th grade. My class of 2026 is going to, instead of being 6th grade, I'm going to rename it to 7th grade. So that's how you would update it. But I will, I'll try to see if maybe I can talk to the PTA officers and maybe offer a separate Zoom workshop for that alone. How do you cut and copy, paste text in MemberHub messages? So it's typically, it's like anything else. So you would just go into messages, and then you would, if you're talking about reusing like old messages, or trying to think, but typically you would be able to like just highlight it, and then you would just, you know, click copy, and then you would go to your new message, and then you would paste it, is how typically that would happen. Sorry, I'm scrolling down here. PTA unit, Stephanie. Okay, so you are, okay, so Stephanie asked a question about using, so about how to do members when they don't purchase dues through MemberHub, or they don't want to use MemberHub. So MemberHub is the official membership record. So whether they purchase dues through your MemberHub store, or if you have another way that you're collecting dues and getting memberships, then your membership chair has to, and this was covered by a separate workshop, would have to go into MemberHub and manually put in your MemberHub members there on MemberHub. New York State PTA MemberHub is the official tool used to record membership for New York State PTA. So that is the system that you would need to use to manually put in the PTA members. Whether you use it for anything else, you have to use it to at least input your membership in, your membership names, email addresses, and so on and so forth. And that is where, and their membership card is generated through that system. Carrie Hernandez asks a great question. So do parents that have children in different buildings need to have separate accounts or email addresses for each PTA's MemberHub? And the answer to that question is no, they do not need to have separate accounts. Again, that is a beauty of the MemberHub system, is that it is used across multiple, you can use it across multiple buildings. And this again is my Martha Brown site. My name is Sonia up here. I have my picture in my profile. And you can see here, if I click on my name, you see that down here I have the option of viewing my personal profile, my family, my email addresses, password. As long as they use the same email address for all of their accounts, they don't even have to log in and out. They can just go down here to switch organizations, and they'll be able to switch to any other site that they're a part of. So I could switch here to Dudley Elementary PTA, which is an elementary unit, and that's as easy as it was to get to another organization that I'm a part of. So you don't even have to log in and out. They are separate. So if I would have to put my name and my profile information, I would have to put that information into each organization because they don't transfer. But as long as it's all tied to the same email address, I would be able to switch organizations just that easy. Just switch from one to the other. Just click on the name, and then I would switch to it automatically. You don't have to log in and out. I hope that's helpful. Casey asked, how does it show when they become a paid member? So that's when you get the gold star next to your name. That's how you know they're a current paid member. So it's only if they've either purchased dues through the MemberHub store, or if they've been manually inputted by a designated person on your board, probably your unit membership chair, manually entered as a member. That's how you know they're a bona fide member. They're a PTA members. They're going to have that gold star next to their name. And I see that was added. Let's see here. You can add just emails of non-members. So I showed you earlier, you would just go to the hub that you want to add them in, click on add, people tab, add people, and then you literally could just put email addresses of people that you wanted to do. Luz asked what to do if there is a duplicate membership entered. Is there a way to void or delete? It depends on if it was done through the MemberHub store or if it was done as part of a manual process. If it was done as a manual process, then I do believe they can go in and they can remove it. The region, or not the region, the unit membership person would be able to just go in and click an X next to that to void the membership. If they purchased a different membership, they would have to do it as under a different email address. And that I would probably suggest contacting like Dana Welch in the New York State PTA office. You may have to refund that store purchase to reset to void that membership. Jean Marie asked, is there a way to send messages to specific groups, i.e. teachers, parents, students? So you would be able to do that if you did, if you use tags for people, you would have to create that or have them in separate hubs would be the way to do it. But there's no way to really, other than using the hub structure, there's really no way to, I mean, you would have to parse out manually, like name people that you click on manually, people that you wanted to send messages to. So my suggestion would be to either use tags in their record, tag them as a teacher, tag them as a parent, tag them as a student, or create a hub with those audiences. And you could also use tags to categorize them and then put all the tagged people in a hub. So you could do that to create a hub with them. Luz asked if there's a parent with children in 2 schools and would like to join a local SEPTA, do they have to purchase 3 memberships? So you would need to purchase a membership for each unit that you want to be a part of. So if your SEPTA is a separate unit and you want to be a member of that SEPTA unit, yes, you would have to pay dues to the SEPTA unit. If each school building is a separate unit, to be a member of those units, yes, you would have to pay separate dues. Somebody asked if you could delete a hub that was created by somebody else. Yeah, if it was a mistake or something. Yeah, site admins, which again would be the president and anybody else that when you update your officers in MemberHub, there's a check mark that specifies whether you want them to be added as a site admin. So yeah, so a site admin person can delete a hub. But obviously you want to make sure you're communicating clearly, especially if there are people in that hub. You want to make sure that people know like why you're doing that. So you'd want to be, proactive and transparent in making that change. I think that was all the questions I had. It's 3:43. How we doing? We're doing good. Does anybody else have any additional questions? Was this helpful? Help me feel good. Was this helpful? Yes or no? Use your yes or no's. Was this a helpful period of time for you? Hopefully. Okay, good. You know, it's different with having this virtual platform. I don't see, you know, faces nodding in front of me. So appreciate the feedback. And again, this is the third workshop. So after we get done here, everybody's going to log off of Zoom and you're going to go to that New York State PTA start meeting page for our mental health chat, and there will be giving out some prizes from there. So you'll be logging off of Zoom after this workshop and going to the mental health chat that's starting at 4 o'clock, and would really encourage everybody to take part in that. And I think they're giving some prizes during that event too. So make sure you're logged on. So. Oh, do we have the link? I'm speaking to Donna, who's in the room with me. Can you type in the chat, the link for the mental health chat? Okay, Donna's going to type it in the chat. There it is. Thank you, Jay. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody, and appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday here on August 1st to take part in this virtual training. This is a new format for everybody, but I hope it's been helpful for you. And we really, I can't say this enough. I know here at New York State PTA, we can't wait to see everybody again in real life. So we can't wait until that happens. So, but in the meantime, stay safe, everybody. Take care of your school communities. You guys are an important and critical voice in your schools, especially in this time of reopening task forces and everything. The voice of PTA, I think, is more relevant than ever. So, and making sure that parents know that they're heard and that they're part of the process. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll see you later. Bye for now.